Warning, this podcast contains strong, offensive and misogynistic language that some listeners may find offensive. The name's Vert. Percival Reginald Vert, and I run the P-Vert Detective Agency. The year is 2055 and the police have been defunded, so if you need a police investigation, the cops will charge you 1,000 big ones a day. Because of this, the government introduced the PI Act, where the private investigators can undercut the police so justice can become affordable. These are my case files. Hello, and welcome to the Dickcast, the home for private detectives. We take a look at everything that's going on so you can get a nice little heads up to make sure that you can get straight on the job. Believe it or not, there's been a lot of missing persons recently, all men. Yes, that's right, all men have gone missing, completely missing, and no one knows what's going on. We've had men of all walks of life. It's always the same thing. They're out partying with their friends. Yes, they are, partying with their friends down the red light district, and hey presto, they get separated from the group and they're never seen from ever again. Their phones don't even turn off. No, their batteries just run out of power. They keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then they die as well. It's as though these men just get sucked into a black hole and never seen or heard from ever again. Now, how long's this been going on for, I hear you ask? Well, if it's on the Dickcast, it's gonna be going on for some time, because no one's got any leads on this, no one knows anything, no one's seen anything. And now, not only are there lots of different cases for people to get individual money from, but there's also a government reward. Yes, you've heard it. There is a government reward because too many citizens, too many voters are all going missing. Now, how much is that reward, I hear you say? Well, that reward is 50,000 big ones. I said 50,000 big ones. And the Dickcast will get 10% commission off of that if anyone gets it using our information. If you want your 50,000 big ones, I suggest you get right down to the docks, to the red light district. And I suggest you stay vigilant. Don't separate people. And I mean it, you don't want to be doing this all on your own, because you'll end up going missing. Be safe, and don't forget to give the Dickcast 10%. Until next time, guys. Wow, 50,000 big ones, hey? That'll keep me going for quite some time. That'll go right towards my retirement. Now, what can I do? The whole red light district's now gonna be swarming with all these other private detectives. And I wonder what I can do to get the prize. Cause yeah, this is a prize and a half. 50,000 big ones. That's a couple of years worth of wages. And it's government paid, so it ain't gonna be a rubber check. It ain't gonna bounce. Oh no, not one bit. Now, I have noticed a string of missing persons recently. I'm working on 10 of them at the moment. Nothing whatsoever. I meet up with the people that they've been hanging around with, and yeah, they have been hanging around the red light district just by the docks. They've all been going on nights out. You know, stag nights, birthday parties, promotions, and we even had a divorce party. All ends in the same thing. People going missing. They do get separated, just like what the Dickcast said. They go missing and never seen from ever again. So I've decided I'm gonna have a hunt around. I'm gonna go to some university campuses and start seeing if there's any parties that are going that way. Now, the Dickcast I know is not open to normal people. You have to be a private detective to be able to chime into it. There's no other way you can pick it up. You have to be logged into a private account using your private detective credentials. They don't allow the general public there, so that broadcast that I just heard, people are not gonna get pulled off from going down to the red light district. Not at all. I'm gonna have to get into people's parties and pretend that I'm with them and just sit down and watch. I'll have to buy a round of drinks just so I'm allowed to be there. Give the person whose party is a little lap dance. Well, not me personally, no, but pay for one. And then just sit back and wait for something to happen. Perfect crime. Ha! For me, that is. And I can also tout for a little bit of business. You know, stealing someone's test results. Stealing a test, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But these students, they'll allow me to tag along because, hey, they're students. Free booze goes a long way with a student. It was a day later, and getting into a student's party wasn't that hard at all. All it took was 10 big ones each for a party of 10. So yeah, 100 big ones in total just to be able to get on this party. And I promised them a round of drinks. And they're like, yeah, well, you pay towards another round as well then, from the money that you've just handed over to us. So yeah, come along, you know, just keep with us, but, you know, don't ruin the atmos, yeah? And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm just working on a case and I just need to be a little bit incognito, you know, so I don't stand out like a sore thumb. And I asked, what's the theme of the party? And they're like, what? What kind of theme's that? Well, I said, when I was a student many years ago and we was going on a lads' night out, we'd all dress up as a theme so we could all, you know, just be noticed as a group. And also, if you're in a club and someone separates, you'll all be able to tell who's in that group. And the lead student, he was like, yeah, well, we didn't think about that. So what do you suggest? And I said, right, well, we're going to dress like a cunt tonight. And he's like, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, you ever see a Hawaiian or tropical shirt? And he looked at me and he said, man, those are absolutely disgusting. And I said, exactly. We're all going to dress like disgusting cunts. So if someone separates, they're easy to spot. You know, dressed up in bright, flowery shirts. We'll look like absolute cunts. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, that's the way we're going to do it. And I tell you what, here's my tenner back. So I turn up in the most ridiculous, garish, flowery piece of shit Hawaiian shirt that money could buy. I mean, it was the absolute worst. It had parrots on there, standing on these real bright flowers, and I did look like a right cunt. There was me, wearing that, and some chinos. Yeah, some chinos, and some suede boots. Hey, if I was gonna look like a cunt, I was gonna do it the right way. And there they were. The rest of the group just turned up, and they did not disappoint. We had red flowery shirts, we had pink flowery shirts, we had yellow and greens, and even massive amalgamations of different fucking colours. It was absolutely garish and shit. And one of them actually had the bollock to turn up with a Hawaiian coloured cowboy hat. And I looked at him and I said, well, boy, wow, you really are a cunt. And he looked at me and laughed. He laughed his head off. Okay, boys, I said, I'm going to be blending in with you guys, and no one splits off. And I mean it, no one splits off. I'm here incognito because there's a lot of men going missing, and we don't know why. We don't know the situations, we don't know the hows. I just need to come along and observe groups of people, groups of lads like yourself, and make sure that I'm right in the thick of the action. If anyone gets any trouble with any of these strippers, anyone gets any trouble with the pimps and the door staff, you tell me straight away, because surprise, surprise, I pretty much know most of the door staff by name. And the manager of this place, I know him, he's a friend and a client of mine, but he doesn't know what's going on either. One of his bouncers went missing, and he needs to know because that bouncer was his sister's husband's roommate, and that makes him absolutely nothing. But his sister's husband was really intrigued as to where he went, and I need to find him as well. Okay? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay then, yeah, okay, that's fine. The night was going pretty well. These boys were having their fun. Stripper after stripper after stripper. Go-go dancer after go-go dancer, all in their faces. Tits with titty tassels just spinning around. Sweaty thongs getting shoved into the faces of these partying boys. And then I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. There's this lone woman. And then I noticed something. One of the boys decided he was going to go off alone. I tapped another one of the group and said, "Hey, I'm going to use him as the cheese. Yeah, I promise you, nothing's going to go wrong. I'm going to keep at a safe distance. You guys continue your fun. Here," I handed him a bundle of notes. "Have another round of me. Hopefully this pays off, but I promise you now, that lad is going to be fine." I left the group of lads and just kept at a safe distance from one of these boys who was actually about to go and spew his guts up. And then I saw her. It's one of the ladies of Talos. Wow. Now how do I know it's a lady of Talos that came up to him? Well, she had a tail. Only women with tails come from Talos. The only biped humanoid that I've ever noticed with a tail. And there she was, in her thong with the little hole at the back for the tail to come through perfectly, without her thong rocking up to one side or the other. Now this was interesting, because yeah, you always got them as strippers, but I've not once seen or heard of a lady from Talos going absolutely psycho. They're all very pleasure driven. They get as much pleasure as what they give, and they just make the money from the side. And now these aliens, I mean, they look pretty much human, but their ears, they're not on the side of their head, they're on the top like an animal's. Their ears are like little pointy furry triangles at the top of their head, and they always have their hair parted either side of each ear. And it looks really, really bizarre, but cool at the same time. And they have 2 sets of tits, and they bounce around, oh lovely. Because I've never seen a girl from Talos with a small tail or some small jugs. It's always a large tail and large jugs. I think that's the thing that they are. Anyways, so this girl from Talos, she took him by the arm. She was wearing her high-heeled stilettos, real thin top, real thin, but she had a jacket on. And she took him by the hand and took him away from the bar, which was really, really unusual. Unusual to say the least, because they never left the bar. Because the bar manager and the pimps, they'd all go absolutely bananas over that. Why is she taking this client away? She's not making them any money, and they don't tolerate that. No, she's gotta make them the money. So she took him down the street, and I kept at a nice safe distance so I wasn't even noticed. There's about 100 meters between us. She took him to this house. She opened up the door, and they went inside. Well, okay then, I'll give it a minute or so, and I'll catch up and I'll have a look around. So I got to this house after a couple of minutes, and yeah, there was only one way in. It's a terrace. There was no way around the back. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get the lockpicks out, so I did. It didn't take that long before I managed to get the door open. Quite literally just like 20 seconds. 20 seconds and I was in. And that was easy. There was no security lock or anything. It was such a poor part of town, I have to say. And there I was, going up the stairs. I couldn't hear anything whatsoever. Nothing. Nothing at all. I silently went up the stairs on my tiptoes so I didn't get the old cliche footsteps in a hollow room. No, I'm really light on my feet, I have to say. So I went up these stairs, and I could hear some sounds of pleasure. It's like, oh shit, but no. Then something went different. It went quiet. Why has it gone quiet like that? If he's enjoying himself, if he was getting laid by one of these girls at Talos, it'll be pretty loud because they tend to like massage anuses with their tails whilst they're getting taken by the male. It's really weird, it's sick and it's twisted, but you know, they tend to do that just so they can breed a lot better. It's an instinctual thing. They just want to maximize the sperm going into them. It's pure filth, absolute pure filth. But that's how they're guaranteed to propagate their species. They just completely milk the prostate of everything that the male has. And it's near enough 100% success rate of getting pregnant in the first go. Hence why you must have protection whilst having relations with a girl from Talos, because you will become a father straight away, without fail. They'll get everything out of you. They always will. I thought, okay, right. What can I do? I'm gonna have to go through this door, and I will be seen no matter what. And just in case, I'll have my little taser out ready to go. And I thought, okay, right. It's just like ripping off a plaster. Let's just get this over and fucking done with. I took one step back and then kicked the door in. And there they were. The girl from Talos. She wasn't a girl from Talos at all. She was a shapeshifter. And oh my god, this poor bastard. I just timed it right, or wrong depending on your point of view, but he let out a load of pain, lots of cries of pain, because this girl from Talos was not a girl from Talos. She just made herself look like one. She had him on top of her, and her stomach just morphed into a set of teeth, and her torso was just devouring this poor son of a bitch. I mean, completely devouring him, you know, ripping chunks of him off. He was screaming in absolute pain and horror, and there I was, standing there. There wasn't much left of this poor little bastard. He was pretty much dead there and then. I shot her in the face with my taser. She let go of whatever chunks of meat was left. The taser cords were still in her, and I kept pumping her full of jolt after jolt after jolt. And then, before she could do anything else, while she was in her stunned state, I pulled up my gun and fired 2 rounds off into her head. She was dead. This poor bastard. The poor bastard I promised to protect. He was dead. There wasn't much left of him. Just a few chunks of meat and bone on the floor. What kind of alien could do this? Well, as I said, it wasn't a girl from Talos, because they didn't do that. She was a shapeshifter. A shapeshift that devours flesh like this. I had to call the police on this one. I just didn't know what kind of alien that was, but they did. They would have to know, because even though the police are defunded, they still have access to an alien database that I don't have. It's like a Pokédex, if you know what I mean, you know, like a Pokemon. But no, I had no idea what kind of alien this was, but she was dead, slain by my bullets and my taser. It wasn't long before the police came along, because they had to investigate murder anyways. I just knew with this one, it'll be tricky to get some cash, because it now became a police investigation, because they were mandated by law to investigate murders. It turned out, after analysis, turns out the alien was exactly. It is hard to pronounce. That word, oh my god, is kept off book. They don't want humans going there, and that I don't blame them. Basically, they're like humanoid Venus flytraps. Their torsos just open up and just consume meat. They would consume anything, but for reasons unknown, this one alien decided she was going to come to Earth and just devour easy targets, such as drunk men. Easy food. Easy. She wouldn't have to eat that often. At least once a month, maybe twice a month, depending if she wants an hors d'oeuvre. This race of beings, they are said to be absolutely brutal. They have no remorse. They just love tasting blood, and that's it. That was it. This case was put to rest very, very quickly, and it was kept off books. Every other case was put down as unsolved, because they didn't want people going in search of this race of people. They didn't want humans going on a rampage after this particular alien species. They just wanted to keep that planet in a little quarantine zone. But sometimes they get out. And they get out where people go exploring and get consumed and their spaceships gets taken. None of the aliens that our world government knows allows anyone near this planet because they are that dangerous. They are that hard to track down because of their shape-shifting abilities, and near enough everyone that comes close to them gets killed. I got lucky because she had a mouthful of food, and I guarantee you that if I was out there on my own having a little bit of a lap dance because I got bored and wanted to spend a bit of money on a bit of fucking pussy, that could have been me. I could have been caught right out, because those girls from Talos, they look hot, but this shapeshifter, oh my god, that could have been anyone, and that could have been me. I got my reward, and everyone that I had a case with, they got told the truth, but they also got paid off by the government to be quiet, to say nothing. And if they said anything, and it got out into the general populace about this alien and where this alien came from, then those families would go missing as well. But they got nicely compensated. Funeral expenses, and also a lot of compensation to keep their mouths shut. So I got my 50 grand, and I got a bonus on top of that to keep my mouth shut. And I got at least 15 cases all solved up as well, but I only charged them 1 day each. I still had to get paid for the time that I spent on those, but instead of spending a day, 2 days, 3 days, I just said to those families, just 1 day would do for the books. And then our case closed that your family member just died in a generic kind of way. And they all agreed because they all got paid off and got forced to live this lie. Thank you for listening to Gumshoe. Percival Vert will be back with another case file next week. If you enjoyed today's content, why not check out our other fictional podcast, a tribute to men that hate their jobs. This podcast is about a man that is trapped in a job he hates because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We also have 30 Years Since, which is a sci-fi podcast set in a post-alien invasion Earth. Both links are in the description below. Master X Media also has a YouTube channel called The X Review, where Paul reviews and reacts to a different music video each and every day. The link is also in the description below. Don't forget to follow Master X Media on Facebook, Gab, Twitter and Parler. Once again, the links are in the description below. Thank you, and we shall catch you soon.